A switch statement is a conditional statement that evaluates the value of a variable and executes a statement or block statement based on the value of the evaluated variable. The switch statement begins with the reserved word switch. Then comes the variable to be evaluated in parentheses. Next comes the switch block, or the list of all possible values or cases of the variable being evaluated. These are listed using the reserved word case, followed by the possible value that the expression up here in parentheses could be evaluated to, and then a colon. Following each case is the statement or block statement to be executed in each case. The variable used in a switch statement expression can be of the primitive data types byte, short, char, and int. The wrapper classes for these data types can also be used in the expression along with strings and enumerated types. Now there is a statement used in this switch statement that we have not discussed. It is the break statement. When the break statement is encountered, the flow of the program jumps out of the switch statement to the statement immediately following the switch statement. Without a break statement, statements within the switch block fall through, meaning once a case is matched within a switch block, all statements after the matching case are executed, even if the case's values do not match. While there may be times when you would want code to fall through, majority of the time break statements will be used to force the flow of the program to jump out of or break out of the switch statement following the execution of the statements linked to a specific case. Following the list of cases is the reserved word default. Here's where you would put any statements you would want executed should the value being evaluated in parentheses not match any cases. Let's look at an example. Here's the code from the GPA calculator exercise in tutorial 27 of this series. Looking at this chain of if and else if statements, you may be able to notice this would be a perfect time to use a switch statement. Now switch statements and if else statements can sometimes both get the same job done, but in the case of evaluating a single variable as an expression, switch statements are often the more elegant approach. So looking at this example, the if else statement can be converted to a switch statement by first typing the reserved word switch. Then we will put the variable grade in parentheses. Next is a switch block. So instead of having all the else if expressions, we will have cases for each letter grade. Notice the addition of the break statements as well as the default case. The implementation of a default case acts as an improvement of the various if-else version of this code, as now the program will know how to better handle bad user input. We can see that when we run the program and type in a lowercase a instead of an uppercase a, we get invalid entry printed to the console. And if we continue to use the program, we can see that the invalid entry did not mess up the GPA calculation. Now let's remove a break statement and run the program in debug mode to see what happens when a break statement is not used. But before we run the program, let's put a print line statement within the first three cases. Now let's put a breakpoint on line 18 and run the program in debug mode. Now when we enter the switch statement, notice the breakpoint is encountered. And when we step through, notice we enter into case A, since that is what was input to the console. You entered an A is printed to the console, and after that the break statement is executed, which causes the flow of the program to jump out of the switch statement and back to the top of the while loop, since a capital Q has not yet been entered to the console. Now notice what happens when we enter capital B. Once again, we are stopped at line 18, and when we step through the program, notice you entered a B is printed to the console. And if we continue to step, you entered a C is also printed to the console. It isn't until the break statement within case C is encountered that the flow of the program jumps out of the switch statement. That is because the break statement at the end of case B was removed, causing code to fall through.